Hey everyone, it's Adrienne here, the Integrative Awareness Coach. How you doing? It's Tuesday. It's just about 6:30 p.m. here, Pacific Standard Time. And I wanted to stop by and say hi and check in and see how you're all doing. I also wanted to share some ideas with you today about quantum entanglement. And really, that's just a fancy way of saying or describing what happens when we unconsciously tie our energy to other people's situations or timelines or energy unconsciously. And this happens a lot because most of us have been conditioned to do this. Not intentionally, but it's just been a way that we've been taught to express, that we care and a sense of love. But when you really start to examine it very carefully, you can actually see that it's the opposite. Anytime that we're asked to invest our energy in other people's timelines, in other people's situations, it's actually an ineffective and inefficient use of our own energy, because at the end of the day, we can't manifest things for other people. We cannot do the work in people's lives for them. They have to do it themselves. And I wanted to give you an example. So just a real general example that you might be able to apply to your life or your relationships in some way. But I'd like you to imagine that there's like a mother, for example, or a father, and they have certain expectations for their son, let's say. And all these expectations that they have for their child are shrouded in love and protection and care and in goodness, right? These are the things that I want for my child. But as the child begins to develop and to grow, the parent's expectations might not be in alignment with the child's expectations. Meanwhile, unconsciously, the child has an inner conflict, right? Because they want to trust their parent and their parent's ideas of what's good, but their parent has a different energy contract and a different way of expressing their energy that is not perhaps in alignment with, say, their child's life path. And so unconsciously, this child, out of love and respect for its parent, might try to meet the expectations that are set out with all good intention, right, of love and care and protection, but then unconsciously begin to resent the fact that they might be living out other people's unconscious expectations for them. And so, and not being valued for, their own unique expression of life and what they came here to be and do and have. And so this can, because a lot of this is unconscious, it can come out, in unconscious ways. So where, for example, a child may rebel and end up failing to meet these expectations. But at the same time, it's almost like they set themselves up to not be able to reach these expectations in a way that makes them powerless or appear powerless. But they might not even be aware that perhaps they're trying to find a way out of living in inauthentic expression that was already chosen for them. And so this way, their energy is entangled in their parents, for example. And this can also work in, well, let me just say before I get to that, so for in this example, say the son ends up failing at meeting this parent's expectation. And then this son may use that as a reason not to show up for himself. And then this unique soul, this person on this planet, isn't living out their authentic expression of who they are. They're actually living out a reaction to somebody else's energy. In this case, their parents' unconscious expectations of what will bring them happiness. And so the rebellion or the rejection of this comes into not being seen, not being valued, not being appreciated for their unique expression. And this can also turn out, like I mentioned just a moment ago, the opposite way, where, say, that same parent has a child, and this parent has these expectations. Let's just say it's a daughter this time. And then the daughter, not only meets the expectations, but excels and goes beyond what that parent had created, like as a timeline or a template for that child to fill. And so this child, now an adult, is acting out this template that is not in authentic vibration with who they are. And it's going to be expressed in one way or the next. It could happen through health issues or failed relationships or something that's always outside of that person's power. And so this is what I'm talking about when I post things or I share things about being in alignment with your authentic energy. And when we are energetically entangled with other people unconsciously, it's difficult for us first to identify what our authentic expression is, because there's a lot of attachment, either the subtle unconscious obligation to meeting other people's expectations and ideas without creating a sense of rejection or betrayal. And so when we live in the world or a world of duality, it's either or. Either I can choose me or I can choose you. But in the quantum realm, outside of duality, there isn't that. We don't have to choose between me or you. It can be me and you. And it doesn't become an issue of rejection or betrayal, but it becomes a choice of freedom, choosing to be free, freeing one person of their expectations, like you have the power to fulfill and make me happy by your choices, which is a subtle level of energetic tyranny to put that onto another person. And the idea that I will love you or value if you can meet my expectations, which is inauthentic. And of course the psyche will rebel to that, because that person's not being truly valued for their authentic expression, their authentic way of being. It's always conditional. And so what do we do about this? How do we extricate ourselves from these entanglements, these quantum entanglements in these timelines and energies that might not be ours, but we've got caught up in them unconsciously? And so part of this is learning to pull back your energy and creating a relationship of self-love, a relationship of placing yourself as a primary steward of your life energy, which you are, and pulling back your power, which is your birthright. And that when you do that, you're not only freeing yourself, but you're freeing the people around you who may have created structures of relating that aren't necessarily based on authenticity and true open-hearted connection and sharing. And so at this time, we're just at the end of July. We just entered into the beautiful Leo season, which is connected to the heart. And so another way to think about this is anytime you find yourself going around in mental circles, or you're feeling trapped, or you have a sense of anxiety or panic as far as not being clear about how to act, what choice to make, taking that moment to bring your attention back to your heart and connecting there to your own self and inquiring within, releasing your connections to other people's ideas and expectations about what will make you happy, and just, putting all those aside and really connecting with yourself and cultivating a personal relationship of care and love and connection with yourself, because if we can't do that with ourselves, we certainly can't do that with other people. And so for many, this might be a whole reconstruction of the idea of relationship. And that, of course, starts with the self, and then it ripples out. And then, of course, that connects your whole relationship to how you show up in the world, the work that you get to do, how you get to relate, and the gifts that you have to offer. So it's kind of like a central seed of the quality for your life. And while we, many of our relationships and these expectations that are presented as love and care and protection are actually, as I mentioned, a form of subtle tyranny that don't allow either party in relationship to be truly free and truly loved and in love, to live from love, not as somebody offering it to you from the outside, but as your very nature. And once you make that shift, then you're standing in your true, organic and original power that you brought with you, and that you may have been encouraged to give up or forfeit to other entities in the name of love. And this is in no way saying that we shouldn't, value our relationships or take time to cultivate other relationships outside of the one with self, but that all relationships are simply a mirror of the relationship with self. And so this is a matter of getting right with nobody else but you first, and then relationships can't help but fall into alignment. It might not happen overnight, right? Especially if this has been the majority of your life, a way of reacting or interacting with people. It takes time to make this shift, but you can begin subtly by taking a daily practice of, noticing any time that, as I mentioned, those emotions such as, anxiety or fear or panic or feeling not at choice, those are all sure signs that you've disconnected from your own heart. And sadly, many ways of being in this world have required that we disconnect from our heart. But this is no longer, at least for me, a viable option. And so I'm sharing that with you as a way to encourage you to welcome yourself home and to create the kind of life that you're longing to, and that it's not necessarily going to happen out there first, although eventually, right, those things all fall into place when we get in right relationship with self, and then we can be in right relationship with others, and then the world. So if you stop by, say hi, leave an emoji, let me know you were here. I hope you're having a great week so far, and I'll see you real soon. Who knows, I might stop in again later this week. All right, until next time, please remember what a valuable treasure you are, and bye for now.